They will tell you that sacrifice is noble, that bending yourself for others is the highest virtue. They want you tired. They want you drained, because the man who always puts others first is predictable. He is easy to control. They don't admire your generosity. They exploit it. The world does not reward martyrs. It feeds on them. Machiavelli knew this. He wrote for rulers, not servants. And his hidden strategy is this: power begins when you crown yourself before anyone else. You cannot defend a kingdom if you cannot defend yourself. You cannot lead if you crawl. And every time you neglect your own strength, you sharpen someone else's blade. You've been told that selflessness is moral, but morality without teeth is suicide. Listen closely. The man who puts himself first is not selfish. He is strategic. He preserves his time, his energy, his will. He builds himself into a fortress and only then decides who may enter. That is power. That is survival. And in a world of wolves, it is the only way forward. From this moment, you stop apologizing for it. You put yourself first, or you become food for someone who does. Number 1. The first law: you are the state. You are not a man. You are a state, a sovereign entity. And the first law of any state is survival. Nations collapse not because they gave too little to others, but because they bled themselves dry for everyone else. The same law applies to you. If you are weak, if you are drained, if you are exhausted, then your kingdom, your body, your mind, your legacy will crumble. Machiavelli wrote for princes because he understood power begins at the center. If the throne falls, the kingdom rots. Putting yourself first is not arrogance. You are the ruler of an empire of flesh and will, and every choice you make is either strengthening its walls or leaving it open to invasion. Look around you. Most men have become servants in their own house. They obey demands. They surrender time. They burn out for approval that never comes. They are not sovereign. They are slaves masquerading as saints. But you cannot lead as a slave. You cannot protect as a beggar. To put yourself first is to reclaim your authority. It is to say, my time is mine, my energy is mine, my will is mine. Others may benefit from my strength, but only when I decree it. A king does not apologize for sitting on the throne. He defends it. This is the first law you must etch into your mind. You are the state. If you collapse, your people collapse. If you decay, everything attached to you decays. That means your health is non-negotiable. Your focus is non-negotiable. Your growth is non-negotiable. You are not a resource to be consumed until empty. You are the engine that fuels everything else, and an engine that burns out is useless to all. The world will not thank you for sacrificing yourself. They will step over your corpse to feed on the next man foolish enough to offer himself first. So hear me clearly. Selfishness, when strategic, is survival. Self-prioritization is not greed, it is duty. It is the duty of every ruler to preserve the crown that rests upon his head. Because if the crown falls, all beneath it turn to chaos. Rule yourself first, govern yourself first, protect yourself first. Only then do you have something real to give, something solid to command. The first law is simple. You are the state. Guard your sovereignty, or you will lose everything that sovereignty could have built. Number 2, mercy without teeth is bait. Mercy is a luxury reserved for men with sharp teeth. Without power, your kindness is not virtue, it is bait. It signals weakness. It invites predators. Machiavelli understood that generosity without strength is a performance for the benefit of those who plan to exploit you. The world does not admire your good heart. It measures whether your spine can hold the weight of your words. You've seen it. The man who bends for everyone, who forgives without boundaries, who gives without reserve, becomes the stepping stone others casually wipe their boots on. His mercy is consumed, not respected. But the man who carries visible steel, who sets limits, who enforces them with calm precision, when he shows mercy, it is valued, even feared. Because people know it is a choice, not a default. You must understand this. Kindness is not free. It is leverage. It is only powerful when it costs you nothing vital, when you give it from a surplus of strength. Until you have teeth, You owe no one softness. Build leverage first: skills, wealth, physical dominance, reputation. Then, when you extend mercy, it carries the gravity of a ruler granting clemency, not a servant begging approval. Do not confuse warmth with weakness. The lion rests in the sun, not because he is harmless, but because he knows he can hunt at will. Your mercy must be the same. If you give too easily, you train the world to treat you like prey. Withhold when necessary, punish when required, show restraint only when it reinforces your command. This is the dark psychology most men fear to learn. Benevolence without enforcement is camouflage for fear. People sense it, they exploit it, and then they discard you. If you want your kindness to matter, forge it on the anvil of power. Until then, keep it close, keep it guarded, and let your silence remind others that your favor is not free. Machiavelli's hidden strategy was not cruelty, it was control. Control over image, over timing, over resources. Master this control, and your mercy becomes rare currency, not common change. The powerless are drained by giving. The powerful expand by choosing when to give. Remember, until you sharpen your teeth, every smile you offer is an invitation to be devoured. Choose carefully. Guard your mercy. Make it deliberate, not default, because mercy without teeth is bait, and you were not born to be swallowed. Number 3. Controlled coldness. Strategic detachment. Detachment is not weakness, it is weaponry. The man who cannot detach is chained by every whim, every face, every demand. The world manipulates him because he responds to every tug on his emotions. But you will learn the discipline of cold distance. Controlled coldness is not numbness, it is precision. You do not chase, you choose, you do not cling, you command. Strategic detachment makes you unpredictable, and unpredictability makes you dangerous. Most men spend their lives broadcasting need. They beg for approval, they flood others with attention, they invest in connections that drain them. Their desperation leaks like blood in the water, and the predators swarm. But the man who withholds, who observes before he engages, who lets silence hang heavy instead of rushing to fill it, that man forces others to lean in. Attention is currency, and you must stop giving it away for free. When you ration your focus, when you treat it as gold, the world begins to recognize its value. People chase what they cannot easily have. They respect what they must earn. This is dark psychology at its core. Scarcity breeds desire. You become scarce, not by absence, but by control. Speak less, reveal less, reward selectively. Every glance, every word, every gesture, measured, deliberate. Strategic detachment also keeps your judgment clear. Emotions cloud strategy. Attachment breeds error. When you stay cold, you see moves others miss. You calculate while they drown in impulse. You move first, you win. Write that phrase in your mind and comment it now. I move first, I win. Because it is the creed of the untouchable. You are not denying yourself feeling, you are governing it. You choose when to feel, when to reveal, when to invest. That choice makes you sovereign. Do not confuse coldness with cruelty. Cruelty wastes energy, coldness saves it. This is not about shutting the world out. It is about forcing the world to qualify for entry. The man who is everywhere is valued nowhere. The man who is selective becomes legend. Controlled coldness is not emptiness, it is leverage. It separates you from the masses and positions you as the one who decides, not the one who waits. Remember this, your power begins where your detachment starts. Withdraw, observe, decide, and then strike with precision. When you master detachment, no one can manipulate you. And when no one can manipulate you, you are untouchable. Number 4. Reputation, the armor you wear before war. Reputation is not decoration, it is armor. It walks into the room before you. It whispers in the ears of strangers. It shapes how enemies approach you before you ever lift a finger. In Machiavelli's world, reputation was often worth more than armies. Armies must be fed, but reputation feeds itself through fear, respect, and rumor. You must begin to craft yours with cold precision. Understand this. Men are not judged by their intentions. They are judged by what others believe about them. Truth matters less than perception, and perception is malleable. If you allow others to define you, they will cast you as weak, soft, pliable. And then they will treat you exactly as they believe. But if you seize the narrative, if you project strength, control, and boundaries, your reputation becomes a shield that protects you even in absence. It dissuades challengers before they act. It bends opportunities toward you. Most men squander their image because they crave being liked. They reveal too much. They chase validation. They perform obedience in the hope of acceptance. That is suicide. Power is never built on approval. It is built on controlled perception. Reputation is the story others tell about you when you're not in the room. Write that story deliberately. Speak less, act strategically, and let silence do your branding. Reputation grows faster on what you don't say than what you do. Never brag. Let results speak. Never beg. Let absence build curiosity. Never over-explain. Let mystery weigh heavier than words. A king who explains himself becomes a clerk. A warrior who boasts invites someone to test him. Do not give them the chance. Build your reputation like armor, layer by layer, piece by piece. Show reliability in strength, not in sacrifice. Deliver on what you promise, but promise little. Make your victories visible enough to establish credibility, yet never predictable enough to be routine. People must always wonder how deep your power goes. That wonder is protection. Remember, reputation is not simply what they think. It is what they fear might be true. Use that fear. Guard your image as a fortress. Repair it ruthlessly when attacked. Expand it slowly, deliberately, and never under any circumstance. Let the crowd define it for you. Reputation is armor. Wear it before war, and many battles will end before they ever begin. Number 5, boundaries. Walls with gates, not moats with holes. Boundaries are not suggestions. They are fortifications. Most men build moats, leaky defenses filled with excuses, apologies, and vague lines that anyone can cross if they push hard enough. But a true sovereign builds walls. High, solid, immovable. Walls with gates, not moats with holes. This means your boundaries must be visible, firm, and enforced without hesitation. When someone crosses the line, you do not negotiate, you correct. Quietly, firmly, decisively. Machiavelli taught that a prince must inspire both fear and respect, but boundaries are where those forces merge. Respect is born when people know exactly where you stand. Fear is born when they realize you will not move. Weak men confuse flexibility with virtue. They think saying yes makes them loved. But endless yes only makes you invisible because people cannot value what is always available. Boundaries make you scarce. Scarcity makes you valuable. When you enforce them, you train the world to respect your time, your energy, your attention. And here's the dark truth. People test boundaries not because they need what you guard, but to measure your strength. When you fail to enforce them, you reveal your weakness. Once exposed, it spreads like infection, and soon no one treats you seriously. But when you enforce without drama, no shouting, no pleading, no justification, you signal iron. People may grumble, they may resist, but they will adapt. They will orbit you with new respect. Remember, your boundaries are not prison bars to trap you. They are fortress walls to protect your sovereignty. Within those walls, you decide who enters and under what conditions. You control the gate, not them. That control is freedom. Every no you speak is not rejection. It is preservation of your empire. And here's the paradox. The stronger your boundaries, the more valuable your yes becomes. People will treasure it because they know it is rare. They will seek it because they know it must be earned. That is how kings rule. Not by bending, but by standing. Not by explaining, but by enforcing. Build your walls high. Keep your gates few. Guard your kingdom without apology. Boundaries are not about keeping the world out. They are about deciding who deserves to come in. Without them, you are not a ruler. You are rubble. Number 6, resource monopolies. Guard your time, energy, focus. Your resources are not money or possessions. They are time, energy, and focus. These are the currencies that shape empires. And the brutal truth is this: most men give theirs away like beggars tossing coins to strangers. They answer every call, attend every demand, scatter their energy across trivialities, and wonder why their lives are ruled by exhaustion instead of conquest. Machiavelli understood that control of resources is control of power. If you want to dominate your world, you must monopolize what sustains it. Your calendar is a battlefield. Guard it like a fortress. Every yes you utter is a conscription of your soldiers, your minutes, your strength, your attention, into someone else's war, and most of those wars do not deserve you. You must learn the cold art of saying no, not with excuses, not with guilt, but with sovereign finality. Kings do not justify why their gates remain closed. They simply keep them closed. Time wasted is power surrendered. Energy spent on the unworthy is a tax imposed by parasites. Focus divided is a blade dulled to uselessness. Your monopoly must be ruthless. You invest only in campaigns that multiply your reach, in alliances that add strength, in endeavors that elevate your throne. Everything else burns away in silence. Guard your sleep, because without it, your mind turns to dull metal. Guard your attention, because what you stare at grows into habit, and habits form the shape of your fate. Guard your energy, because when it drains, the wolves smell blood. You must become untouchable in this. Let no one claim your hours without proving their worth. Let no one siphon your energy without bringing you strength in return. Let no one hijack your focus with petty noise. This is not selfishness. It is sovereignty. When you conserve and command your resources, you become untouchable because you cannot be manipulated by urgency, by guilt, by pressure. You choose, you dictate, and the world adjusts. Comment this phrase right now to engrave it in your mind. I move first, I win. Because when you own your time, your energy, your focus, you move before anyone else even realizes the game has begun. Guard these resources like blood, because they are blood, the lifeblood of your power. Surrender them, and you become a servant. Guard them, and you remain a king. Number 7. Asymmetric moves. Win without wrestling. Power is not earned by grinding in the mud with everyone else. It is claimed through asymmetric moves. You don't wrestle with pigs. You position yourself so that pigs wrestle among themselves while you take the throne. Machiavelli taught that direct confrontation is costly and unpredictable. The smarter ruler finds leverage, the angle no one sees, the move that topples giants without lifting a sword. You must stop thinking like a worker and start thinking like a strategist. Most men waste their lives in symmetrical battles, arguing point for point, fighting blow for blow, trading hours for scraps. That is slavery dressed as effort. You will not fight on their terms. You will change the game. Asymmetry is using intelligence against force, patience against haste, silence against noise. It is letting others exhaust themselves in battles you've already outflanked. Look at history. Great rulers rarely won through sheer force. They won by arranging conditions so the enemy collapsed without realizing why. That is your model. Never meet resistance head-on when you can tilt the ground beneath their feet. This means learning to see what others ignore. Where they rush, you wait. Where they flaunt, you conceal. Where they chase, you lure. Asymmetry is psychological warfare, outmaneuvering, not overpowering. When someone tries to drag you into petty conflict, refuse. They expect you to defend yourself, to wrestle. Instead, rise above, shift the narrative, or let silence burn them. Nothing destroys an enemy like being denied the fight they crave. And when you do strike, strike where they least expect. At the moment, they are weakest, with the tool they never considered. This is why you must study patterns, not emotions. Emotion blinds. Patterns reveal. Anticipate. Prepare. Move when they are still debating. Win before the wrestling begins. Understand this. Every moment you argue with fools, every battle you fight on someone else's stage, you betray your throne. You must be above the mud, Control the ground, set the frame. Let them sweat, let them rage while you conserve energy for decisive, asymmetric blows. That is how kings win. That is how empires are built without wasting themselves in endless wars. Win without wrestling. That is your art now. Number 8. The mask and the mirror. Power is not only what you have, it is what others believe you have. And that belief is sculpted through masks and mirrors. The mask is the face you wear to the world, the crafted persona that controls perception. The mirror is your ability to see reality without distortion, to see others as they are and yourself as you truly are beneath the costume. Machiavelli understood that rulers do not survive by being transparent. They survive by being unreadable, by showing one thing while holding another. To move through this world untouchable, you must master both. The mask is your projection of strength, control, mystery. You must understand that people are not attracted to raw truth. They are attracted to narrative, to symbols, to illusions that confirm what they desire to believe. If you strip yourself bare, they will see flaws, doubts, cracks. They will use them. But if you mask yourself in calculated signals, discipline in your posture, certainty in your words, restraint in your reactions, you broadcast a power greater than any internal chaos you may feel. The mask does not lie, it selects. It chooses which parts of you to reveal and which to hide, creating an aura that compels obedience or respect. Weak men scoff at masks because they worship authenticity as if it were holy, but authenticity is often just uncontrolled exposure. The wolf wears a mask of silence. Only the sheep bleat their every thought. You must wear the mask of command. Reveal composure when chaos brews inside. Reveal indifference when you burn with fury. Reveal calm focus when others scramble in panic. Your mask must always show what serves your power, never what serves your feelings. Yet the mask without the mirror is dangerous because men who live only in their costume begin to believe their own performance. They lose the ability to see themselves honestly, and thus they miscalculate. The mirror is your discipline of self-scrutiny, your ruthless clarity about your weaknesses, patterns, and motives. You must study yourself in cold detail. Where are you impulsive? Where are you weak? Where are you predictable? Without the mirror, your mask becomes brittle, a porcelain facade ready to shatter under the first blow. But with the mirror, you refine the mask until it becomes armor. The mirror also applies outward. You must learn to see others without illusion, without the haze of hope, sentiment, or projection. Most men project what they wish to see. They fall in love with potential. They trust empty words. They ignore patterns because they crave comfort. You will not. You will polish the mirror until you see others as they are. Predators, allies, pawns, obstacles. This clarity grants you dominance. Because when others misjudge, you calculate. When others hope, you prepare. When others trust blindly, you hold the knife behind your back. This is the balance. Mask for the world, mirror for yourself. Master them and you become untouchable. The mask lets you move unseen, feared, or admired according to your design. The mirror prevents you from being deceived, especially by your own reflection. Together, they form the core of cold power psychology. Think of the greatest rulers, leaders, and conquerors. None showed their entire hand. None revealed their deepest chaos. None allowed the crowd to see the trembling beneath the throne. They wore masks so convincing that history remembers them as larger than life. And they held mirrors so ruthless that they could correct their flaws before enemies exposed them. You must practice this daily. Construct your mask intentionally. Your voice, your posture, your silence, your gaze. Every gesture must suggest control. Train the mirror with equal discipline. Journal your weaknesses. Analyze your failures. Dissect your patterns without pity. Both are weapons, and both must be sharpened. Here is the dark psychology truth. People want to be deceived. They crave leaders who appear unshakable, who embody certainty. Your mask gives them what they crave, and in return they grant you obedience. But beneath it, your mirror keeps you awake, aware, strategic. Remember this: never confuse transparency with trust. Trust is earned through consistency, not confession. Never confuse honesty with effectiveness. Honesty without timing destroys kings. Mask what weakens you. Mirror what strengthens you. Let others waste themselves exposing their chaos to the crowd. You will rule because you choose what they see, while always seeing more than they show. This dual mastery will make you formidable. It will make you untouchable. And when you command yourself with the mask and the mirror, the world will bend, not because it knows you fully, but because it never truly can. Number 9. Loyalty by design, not demand. Loyalty is not given. It is engineered. Weak men beg for it, plead for it, demand it, and then wonder why betrayal stabs them in the dark. Machiavelli made it clear, people are not loyal by nature. They are loyal when structure binds them, when incentives lock them, when fear of loss outweighs temptation. You must build your world so that loyalty is not a choice, but the natural consequence of alignment. Stop expecting devotion for your kindness. Kindness is cheap. Stop expecting commitment for your words. Words are lighter than ash. Loyalty must be forged like iron, heated by necessity, hammered by incentives, cooled by boundaries. You must design it, not request it. Look at history. Kingdoms held together not by affection, but by fear of punishment, flow of rewards, and belief that the ruler's strength was unbreakable. When that perception cracked, even the most trusted allies turned. You cannot rely on oaths. You must rely on architecture. What does this mean for you? It means structuring your relationships so that betrayal costs more than loyalty. If someone stands beside you, they must gain from your rise and suffer from your fall. That way, their own self-interest welds them to your cause. This is not romantic. It is not sentimental. It is survival. Machiavelli wrote that it is safer to be feared than loved because fear anchors loyalty when love fades. But the highest level is to combine both, to structure your influence so people both respect your power and benefit from your success. Never confuse loyalty with love. Love shifts with moods, with temptations, with boredom. Loyalty built on structure endures because it is locked into the foundation. You must control the levers. Reward loyalty decisively. Punish betrayal without hesitation. And most importantly, do not expose yourself to betrayal that can destroy you. Divide power. Keep certain levers in your hand alone. Trust people with responsibilities they can carry, but never with keys to the throne. People must always know that your strength is independent of their support, that without them, you still rule, you still rise, you still move. That knowledge keeps them respectful. That dependence keeps them aligned. And you must cultivate a reputation for memory. Remember loyalty forever. Reward it visibly. Remember betrayal forever. Punish it visibly. People act according to precedent. If they see loyalty rewarded and betrayal crushed, they will calculate accordingly. If they see betrayal tolerated, they will exploit you. Your loyalty must also be scarce. Give it sparingly. Tie it to performance. Let others work to earn it. Scarcity breeds value. And here's the dark psychology. Most men overcommit their loyalty and end up chained to parasites. You will not. You will distribute loyalty like a king grants titles, rare, conditional, always revocable. And when you grant it, it must mean something. Loyalty by design is not just about others, it is about yourself. You must be loyal to your own standards first. Betray yourself, and every structure you build collapses. You must not demand from others what you do not enforce within. Stand by your principles, by your vision, by your discipline, and others will see that loyalty to you is loyalty to something stable, something inevitable. And inevitable power attracts commitment. Now engrave this into your mind. Loyalty is not born. It is engineered. Stop begging for it. Stop chasing it. Build systems, structures, and incentives that make loyalty the most rational option. That is how kings rule. That is how empires endure. Speak the phrase now to anchor it in your psychology. I move first, I win. Because when you design loyalty instead of begging for it, you move before betrayal. You move before collapse. You move with inevitability. And in a world where most men trust in the fragile rope of affection, You will walk armored in iron chains of calculated loyalty. That is the difference between being abandoned and being followed, between being a victim and being a sovereign. Loyalty by design, not demand. That is how you become untouchable. Number 10. The untouchable standard, crown inward, steel. Power is not an accessory. It is the standard by which you must live, breathe, and govern yourself. The untouchable man does not stumble into greatness. He forges it with fire inside and armor outside. Crown inward, steel outward. This is the law of sovereignty. The crown inward means you rule your inner world as a monarch rules his throne room. Discipline, order, and clarity of command. No indulgence governs you, no weakness owns you, no impulse drags you off course. You become the authority inside your mind. Thoughts that weaken you are silenced, emotions that distract you are redirected, habits that corrode you are executed without pity. That crown is not ornamental. It is forged from routine, forged from suffering, forged from relentless refusal to let the lower self control the higher self. Every day you wake, the crown waits. If you do not place it firmly upon your head, you walk into the world as a servant. You must understand, most men never wear it. They let the winds of fear, envy, lust, or comfort rule them, and so they drift like broken ships across hostile seas. You will not. You will seize the helm every dawn, enforce your own law, and declare with unflinching clarity what will and will not govern you. That is crown inward, but power hidden inside is incomplete without projection. Steel outward. Steel outward is the visible force, the aura, the posture that makes others adjust themselves to you before you ever speak. It is the steel in your eyes, the calm in your tone, the immovability in your decisions. It is not theatrical aggression. It is quiet inevitability. Others sense it, like heat radiating from iron. They feel that testing you is costly, that disrespecting you is dangerous, that approaching you carelessly is foolish. This steel comes not from pretense, but from practice. When you crown yourself inside, steel naturally radiates outside. And here lies the Machiavellian principle. Appearance is as crucial as essence. The crowd does not see your crown. They only feel your steel. They do not care about your discipline. They care about the power you project. So, you must craft both. Crown inward creates the substance. Steel outward creates the perception. Together they form sovereignty that cannot be pierced. Most men try to fake steel without earning the crown. They posture, they boast, they bark loudly while their inner world rots. Such men always fall. The mask cracks, the steel bends, because without inner rule, they are brittle. You will not be brittle. You will align inner command with outer projection until the world sees no difference between what you are and what you appear to be. That alignment is the untouchable standard. You must practice it relentlessly. Test yourself. When chaos rises around you, does your crown slip? Do you panic, stutter, retreat? Or do you hold the throne inside and let steel outward calm the storm? When temptation whispers, do you obey like a subject? Or do you crush it beneath your crown's decree? When disrespect confronts you, do you grovel for peace? Or do you let steel outward make your boundary known without flinching? Each test defines whether you live as sovereign or slave. Sovereignty is not abstract. It is daily, hourly, moment by moment. Machiavelli wrote that fortune favors the bold, but he also wrote that fortune destroys the unprepared. The untouchable man is bold because he has prepared, because his crown rules him, because his steel protects him. You must become inevitable, and inevitability is built on standards. Standards so high, so consistent, so unforgiving, that the world bends rather than expects you to lower them. Your health is standard. Your time is standard. Your word is standard. You will not break them for convenience, for temptation, for approval. Because every time you break your own standard, your crown falls and your steel rusts. Weak men are inconsistent, and inconsistency is weakness disguised as flexibility. You must be granite, predictable in discipline, unpredictable in strategy. That paradox makes you untouchable. The world must know that inside you sit a sovereign no one can sway. and outside you project a wall no one can breach. And here lies the secret. When you become this, you no longer chase. Respect chases you. Loyalty seeks you. Opportunities orbit you, because gravity always pulls toward the solid, never toward the brittle. You will not need to announce yourself. Silence will be your proclamation. You will not need to prove yourself. Results will be your testimony. You will not need to demand loyalty. Structure will engineer it. This is what happens when crown inward and steel outward align. They create inevitability. People bend, not because you force them, but because your standard leaves them no alternative. That is the pinnacle of Machiavellian psychology, the art of designing yourself so power flows to you without begging, without chasing, without exhaustion. The crown makes you master of yourself. The steel makes you master of your domain. Together, they make you untouchable. Now carve this creed into your identity. Speak it, write it, type it. I move first, I win. Say it now, comment it now, let it echo in your mind every time you feel the pull to bend, to hesitate, to doubt. Because sovereignty is movement, and movement first is victory. The untouchable man does not wait for permission. He does not wait for validation. He does not wait for certainty. He moves first because his crown commands it and his steel protects it. This is the final standard I leave you with. Rule yourself and you rule everything around you. Abandon yourself and you become food for rulers sharper than you. Crown inward, steel outward. Guard the throne, project the force, live the law. And if this voice sharpened you, then sharpen it further. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications, because this is not entertainment. This is war strategy for the man who refuses to be consumed. And the war is endless, but so is your sovereignty if you choose it.